Stacia, good morning. Welcome.
Hello? Okay.
Buttons up.
Thank you for your time. Senator Lynch, you run a great committee. I appreciate the way you handled it, and I appreciate the ones that are still here, the senators. Thank you very much. I wanted to stick it out and hear and go through what you go through, because I've been doing this for a few years, and I come to the committee meetings, and I'm listening, and I'm watching closely, very closely. And I don't mean for you to take offense to this. I know that many of you are attorneys. You're well-educated people, and what or even former state trooper, right? So, the last time I remember coming here was after Sandy Hook, and then I see we got all these bills again after every time we see this mass school shooting, this knee-jerk reaction legislation. I just don't understand it. Why, when we have some very educated legislators, if I could just touch base, and I'm going to keep it short, I promise, but I wanted to sit here and listen so I can address some things. First of all, what you saw today was over 30, from what I got word while I was sitting here, I've been here for 12 hours with you, over 3,200 people showed up today. The majority of them were wearing yellow. And what that shows you is that the Second Amendment community is very concerned. I don't think I talked to the fire marshals. They said they've never seen a turnout like this. They were actually concerned about capacity today. And we all were well behaved. We were very good to work with. So you can see that, and from both sides of the political aisle, Republican, Democrat, this is a big issue for your constituents. We see what's going on. There's about 45 gun clubs across the state, well over, I'm guessing at least 10,000 members. Whether or not we shoot recreationally, we just practice, or for sporting, youth sporting, adult sporting, we're out there. I heard testimony about what Dick's Sporting Goods did, and they took a stance. I saw some more knee-jerk reactions from some big businesses trying to make a stance. I can tell you that the local gun shops, they've been jam-packed, selling off the shelves since Dick's Sporting Goods made their decision, and NRA membership actually increased since the Parkland incident. As far as this red flag bill, I was reading the ACLU's statement. I don't normally back the decisions of the ACLU. In this case, I do. They put out a 14-page analysis, and they put out some bullet points of their concerns, and I'm right there with that analysis. I think it's egregious legislation, and there's just way too many. It's just going to completely impede upon the rights of a lot of good law-abiding citizens. As far as looking at what happened in Parkland, after it happened, I think, like many of us, we all sat around the dinner table, and we had some heart-to-heart discussions. What do you think? And then more news started coming out about just how bad of a situation that was, from not only the shooter Nicholas Cruz, the complete lack of law enforcement. There were red flags for years on that guy, and basically, they want us, they say something, say something. People were saying something, and law wasn't acting on what the people were seeing and reporting. This is a big problem. And then it led, unfortunately, to that situation. I don't understand how he just managed. We secure our schools, like that other lady said. She has to wave her card in front of the camera. We should secure our schools and make sure they are secure and safe. If teachers or any school staff chooses to carry, they should be allowed to carry. And I find it very concerning. I heard a lot of it tonight, where concealed carry holders are demeaned, constantly demeaned. I know concealed carry holders, I know people who go to the range that probably have been shooting longer and put in more hours than local law enforcement. I can guarantee you of that. If any of you would like to come to the range, I'll tell you what range I go and practice at with my husband. Please come and shoot with us. I don't know how many of you have been to the range. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what an assault weapon is. You've heard it. I'm not even going to get into it. Okay, when I saw the list of the assault weapons ban, like many of us, our jaws dropped. I just can't even believe that legislation was put out by well-educated people and people who've actually served in law enforcement. It's very concerning to me. As far as, getting back to the students that were here too, I really want to see kids, there's nothing more heartbreaking than seeing what happened when you see kids getting killed in schools. This has been going on, unfortunately, for a long time. I can tell you when I was in high school, I'm going to give away my age right now, okay, in the 80s, we were going to school back then. I don't ever remember, I don't know about the rest of us, but the one thing that stands out to me when I was in high school was when the space shuttle blew up in the sky. That's the one thing that stayed with me forever. They didn't talk about it on the news. There were, I think, 16 shootings in the 80s, 16 mass shootings in the 80s, from 85 to 89. I don't ever remember it being, exploited in the media the way that it has been lately over the last few years. So it's concerning when we see that kids find firearms to be scary. They find more guns in schools to be scary. I guarantee you, if Senator Miller, who owns his bar in Providence, I would think, I don't know if he carries, but I would think he'd be most appreciative, God forbid, if somebody walked into his bar, okay, opening up on innocence, that there would be at least one person there who was concealed carrying, if not himself, to put that person down. And another thing I didn't hear tonight is all of these mass shootings, what do they have in common? You all know the answer. What do all of the mass shootings, I know you can answer me, that's fine. Whether it was in...
We're actually not,
Okay.
if you could just continue to testify.
Okay, great, thank you. All of these mass shootings, what they have in common is all of the people that were either in a church, in a school, in a club, were all completely defenseless. That's what they all have in common, and everyone seems to completely overlook this. There was one I can tell you this right now, I know people that are willing, concealed carry holders are willing to put their life on the line. Me personally, I wouldn't hesitate to go into a school, unlike the 4 deputies in Florida who waited outside, okay, for 4 hours before backup showed up while people were getting killed. I would have gone in, but that's just me. I can assure you of that. So, but if there was this is what stops bad people with guns. This is why we wear these T-shirts. Gun control doesn't work because it doesn't. Good people who abide by the law, who go to the range and practice, put hours and hours and hours in and take it seriously, we'd be the first ones to put a bad guy down because we're the first responders, the concealed carry holder. That's who's gonna take them down. So, let's see, I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, as far as this whole, mental health, this is just, you look at Stephen Paddock, there was not one red flag, not one. There's no way you could have stopped a guy like Stephen Paddock who just came out of nowhere. And then you have another guy like Nicholas Cruz who had red flags left and right, still couldn't stop him because they didn't enforce the law. You look at the number of mass shootings. No one talks about the number of these shooters and these kids they go and they get treatment, or whether it's an adult and they get drugged up. They're put on anti-anxiety medication, antipsychotics. These medications probably cause more damage to people's minds than I know they cause more damage to people's minds than you can imagine because they end up committing, mass shooting atrocities. And I'll just end it at this. Look at the recent case in Oklahoma with the mother and the daughter in the liquor store. And the armed robber came in, and they had 2 firearms underneath the register. And the mother, if you look at her interview on the news, I believe she went through 6 rounds very quickly. She couldn't put the guy down. He kept coming at them. He actually went out the door full of bullet holes, came back in, and then the daughter was shooting at him as well. And it took well over 10 rounds to get that one guy down, but 2 handguns with more than 10 rounds. So this whole 10-round thing, that's a whole other, you're just wasting your time. I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell you straight out. You can quickly switch those magazines faster than you can imagine. So thank you for your time. That's just the feedback that I wanted to give, and just know that the Second Amendment community, we're watching, we're looking. I'm very active online. We look at this very closely, and we're going to continue to be here and to let you know that this is, there's another solution. Don't keep coming after us. Go after the low-hanging fruit. And it's just a matter of enforcing the laws and securing the schools and allow concealed carry holders, have more respect for them, because we really can, make a big difference. So thank you.